start our writing lesson. So can you get your writer's notebook and a pencil and join me in the carpet? Okay, find a good spot where you can see the chart paper. All right, so today we're going to be using our writer's notebooks, especially our writing territories, which are the lists of ideas that we came up with in the beginning of the school year, and we added to a little bit. We're going to be using our writing territories to give us an idea to meet our learning target. So our learning target today for writing is, I can begin a narrative based off a positive experience in my life. So just as a refresher, what does it mean to write a narrative? What's a narrative mean? Palash?
A story.
Right, a narrative is just a story. So you're going to be using your own life experiences, which you all have listed in your writing territories, and I do too. You're going to be using your own experiences to just create a story. Now, it can be a personal narrative, which means a true story, or you can use one of your own ideas from your writing territories to create a fictional story. So it can either be a true story or a made-up story, because we know that authors almost always write from things that they know and things that they experience. Do you remember reading that book, Thank You, Mr. Falker, by Patricia Polacco?
Oh, yeah.
And I know in third grade you guys do a study on Patricia Polacco. Well, that is her real life. And so authors almost always write from something that they know, that they've experienced. So that's what we're going to do today. Yes, Amina?
Can we also like do poem as a book?
If the poem is a narrative, so if the poem tells a story,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
sure, you can use that genre too. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to do it first, and then likely the questions will get answered. But if there are still some lingering questions after I show you, then please feel free to ask. So how you get started is we're looking for a positive experience. So positive, that's an important word. I'm going to underline that. Because I have lots of things in here in my writing territories that are positive, but I also have things that scare me. That's one of my categories. And I have things in there that are kind of sad. Anybody else write about things that are sad? So I'm going to just look for the things that are positive or good. Let's see, so things that I love. Oh my gosh. I could easily write about when my children were born. Don't you guys think?
Yeah.
That's definitely a positive experience. So I'm going to circle that one. Okay. How about skydiving?
Oh,
That would create, because it was a positive experience.
Oh, I
for me.
remember close that story.
Hey guys.
Let's see.
Driving to Connecticut? No, that was not positive. That's wrong. I'm wrong to do that. Ooh, I know. There's this room. I'm looking under places. There's this room called, that my family would call Bluebeard's room. It was, my family had a, my dad's side of the family had a farm in a place called Goshen in Connecticut. And they had this, it was built in like the 1700s, and they had this room that was really kind of creepy, but very cool, and there was like a pool table in there, and lots of cool pictures on the walls, and my siblings and I, we'd have so much fun in there. So Bluebeard's room. Okay, so I can either write about Bluebeard's room, skydiving, or my children were born. Are those going to give me positive experience, or positive stories?
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so I think I'm going to choose skydiving just because that sounds like the most exciting right now. All right, so I'm going to try it on for size. Here we go. Now, when you're writing a narrative, you really want to catch your reader with a good first line, right? And we're not really going to try to write the whole narrative today. We're just going to try to begin one. So, here we go. The thing that I remember most about skydiving was feeling super, super nervous going into it. And I want my reader to feel that too, because that's part of the fun, right? Don't you love it when a good writer gets you feeling something? All right, I'm gonna try to do that. So, I'm gonna start with some alliteration. Burp, burp. Sounds like somebody just drank too much soda, doesn't it? But what kind of sound do you think I'm trying to make here? Dahlia? Wasn't it was an airplane, but yeah, I'm trying to get the reader to hear the brrr, brrr of the propellers, okay? My stomach was doing flips inside my body as the tiny plane rose higher and higher. Kira, I think that might be nurse Wyrick for you. Okay. So let's reread it. Brr, brr, brr. My stomach was doing flips inside my body as the tiny plane rose higher and higher. I was scared, for sure. But determined to jump. From this, and I'm going to put this part in quotes because my mom, she would always say, "Why are you going to jump from a perfectly good airplane?" And I feel like when you can have a quote in there, it makes the reader really believe you too, okay? From this perfectly good airplane. You guys are asking lots of questions. Maybe this is going to be a good story after all. Okay, so am I meeting my target here? I can begin a narrative based off a positive experience in my life. Did I begin a story?
Yes.
Yeah. And now I'm going to try on the other two ideas to see which story I want to stick with for the rest. So, Bluebeard's room, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. The children, that's two. Maybe I'll just pick one child.
Owen.
Oh,
no.
Mary.
It's really hard
Mary.
to do.
We're
Okay.
going to choose over.
I'm going to go with Bluebeard's room first, okay? So, what I remember most about Bluebeard's room, I'm trying to take my brain back there to my memory because that's going to make it a better story. The smell. It smelled like a musty old basement. You know what an old basement smells like? That's what it smelled like, okay? I can still smell the musty, dusty odor in Bluebeard's room. I can still smell. I like that musty, dusty. That sounds good. Odor in Bluebeard's room. Okay, so that's a good start, don't you think? Yeah. So now let's think about the Owen and Mary one. I'm going to go with Mary because I've already written about Owen's birth before, and I love both children, but you got to decide, right? Okay, so the date is really important, so I'm going to write the date. Start with the date. October 18th, 2013. 5 a.m.
Wow. Is she 3?
She'll be 3 in October. We buckled in. And headed out to Christ Hospital. family was about to get bigger. All right. That's it. Oh gosh, you're so supportive. All right, so let's look. Can I meet my learning target? I can begin a narrative based on a positive experience in my life. Well, I begun 1, 2, 3. So readers, or writers rather, that's your job right now. You're to look in your writing territories, come up with 3 possible ideas, and go ahead and try to start writing a narrative based on a positive experience in your life. And then when we're done, we're going to come back together and you guys get to share what you've created in our group share time. Okay? Any questions? Allison?
Instead of like writing 3 of them, we just like make one big one.
Not today, sweetie. Today we're going to work on trying to write 3 different ones because good writers, they don't just always settle on one thing for sure. You know, good writers, they really like to have a lot of different ideas. Because you know what? I actually thought this was going to be my winner, but then when I started writing about Mary and Owen, or Mary's birth, I think that might be the one that I want to take all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sabina?
If I wanted to write poetry, could I just like do one little poem to start it off?
Sure.
Okay, I'll just like
Palash?
Sure, each like small part, the beginning of the story, should it be 3 sentences?
As long as you need to start it. You know, this one was a few sentences, however, the Bluebeards one was just 1. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, Dahlia's my final question, and then I can meet the rest of you in conferences. What?
If we're doing a poem,
Mm-hmm.
could we do a haiku?
Haikus, it's really tricky to have a narrative if you're doing a haiku. It's even tricky, Sabina, I would say, to do a narrative in a poem. So if you're going to try a poem, could you try that for 1, and then the others, can you make just a traditional narrative? Okay. Mackenzie, I'll address your question personally. The rest of you guys, go to a good space, start working. It is 1:30. Yeah, it's 1:30, so if you go somewhere else right now, you can head out. Pause it, we'll cut that.